Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We've got another Watchmen update. The European Union's leader's plane was targeted by electronic warfare jamming mid-flight. It's a serious escalation and the Europeans are not happy about it. Venezuela mobilizes its police and militias to the coastal regions, feeling threatened by the U.S. warships and U.S. Marines off their coast. Should they be concerned? We have word from them and kind of what they're thinking. Rudy Giuliani, seriously injured, America's mayor. And China's President Xi speaks to the Brics world leaders and tips their hand a little bit for us to see what they're really thinking. And an emergency water rationing announced in Oregon. That and a bunch of other Watchmen updates. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment that gets to the right place. Appreciate all of you being part of that community. And I apologize for not having my button-down shirt on. I left them with a cute Filipina in the Philippines, and you may see those shirts again soon. Anyway, I can never say his name properly. Rudy Giuliani was seriously injured in a car crash over the weekend in which he was a passenger. He is now recovering from fractured vertebrae and other serious injuries. President Trump has announced that he will be receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his work as America's mayor and his cleanup of New York City in the 90s and early 2000s, of course. How can we forget him from 9/11, right? Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela, claims 8 United States ships with over 1,200 missiles now targeting Venezuela. Now, we don't have confirmation on that many ships, so he may have access to more information on that. He is probably very much in communication with Russia and possibly China. So there may be more U.S. warships in the area than what we've been made aware of. Coast Guard could be supplementing the naval force because it's not too far away. But obviously the United States is amassing a large force off the coast of Venezuela, and Maduro is concerned. In response, Venezuela's defense minister has ordered increased drone surveillance and naval patrols along the country's coastline, with a statement calling a significant mobilization of both drones and naval vessels, including larger warships positioned further north within Venezuelan territorial waters. Extra troops are being placed on the ready in border states of Venezuela as well. Socialist Nicolas Maduro is also making a big show, saying he's ready to fight the imperialist invaders. Now, I'll say this. Moving your Navy warships around when you're confronting the United States Navy is really kind of a joke, because the United States could sink all of Venezuela's warships in a matter of hours. So, I mean, just from aircraft based in the United States. So, I mean, their Navy is a bit of a joke compared to the United States, okay? Maduro has been busy positioning some 15,000 police and military officers in sensitive border states Zulia and Táchira, signaling concern over cross-border threats. They've been stacking up their troops against their next-door neighbor, threatening to invade and take over a disputed territory. That may be why the United States military is building up some of its military force there for a quick response force in case Venezuela tries to invade. I'm not sure what's going on, but it sure seems like the United States is projecting force there. Maduro said there's no way that they can enter Venezuela, he said while visiting a special forces unit 2 days ago. Today, we are stronger than yesterday. Today, we are more prepared to defend peace, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. That's kind of what it sounds like before you invade another country for your territory. A plane carrying European Union Chief Ursula von de Leyen was hit by GPS jamming as it was readying to land in Bulgaria on Sunday. The European Union said Monday, adding Russia was suspected to be behind the incident. We can indeed confirm that there was GPS jamming, but the plane landed safely in Bulgaria. Bulgaria does not directly border Ukraine, so Bulgaria should be fairly safe. We received information that the Bulgarian authorities that they suspect this was due to blatant interference by Russia. Now, no hard evidence of that just yet, but something happened and it was pretty serious inside a country that's not bordering a conflict zone. Chinese President Xi criticized on Monday bullying behavior in the world order as he gathered regional leaders for a summit. Now, this is the Shanghai Cooperation Summit, which includes countries such as China, India, Pakistan, Russia, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Belarus. And if you're like, why is Belarus in that? It just is. With 16 more countries affiliated as observers or dialogue partners. But President Xi sharing with them his thoughts and China's thoughts on what's happening in the world. He called on leaders including Russia's Putin and India's Modi, Prime Minister Modi, to adhere to fairness and justice, oppose Cold War mentality, camp confrontation, and bullying behavior. China and Russia have sometimes touted the SCO as an alternative to NATO, the NATO military alliance, but that has not materialized in tangible form just yet. The current international situation is becoming chaotic and intertwined. So obviously a lot of this is targeted at the United States, saying that we're bullying and that they're kind of done with it, they're tired of it. The security development tasks facing member states have become even more challenging, he said. Now, pictures of President Xi, Putin, and Prime Minister Modi as equals were noticeable. It was a big contrast to the European leaders that came to Washington, D.C. and the White House begging with their hat in their hands, and they were basically humiliated in their pictures and in just how they were treated at the White House. Now, they weren't invited to the White House. They invited themselves. So there was that happening right there. They're trying to bully the United States on what was going on in Eastern Europe. But you see that Europe is very much the junior partner. The European states are very much the junior partner to the United States. But we see Russia, China, and India seem to be trying to form a much more level playing field where they respect each other as equals, which I have to say is a little bit refreshing, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. MB says Medford in Southern Oregon. Medford's Water Commission, the water utility company, issued an emergency water rationing order as of Tuesday morning. The order was continued into at least Wednesday at noon. They had a power issue at the water treatment plant and advised Pacific Power, regional electricity supply company, to cut power to the plant until the issue was resolved. Water rationing meant no watering of landscaping, garden, no personal car washing, or sidewalks. And advised to keep a bucket of water for flushing just in case. Of course, when you get those type of things, you need to stock up on water ASAP, because if the water goes out, you need to make sure you have enough water, right? One day you're going to turn those taps and water's not going to come out. That's just how life is going to work and has worked for the last bazillion years, okay? Running water is a new thing, and the infrastructure behind it is getting really, really old in most of the United States and a lot of other countries, right? It hasn't been replaced or repaired like it should be. And it requires power. It requires a lot of things going right in order to get water out of your tap that's safe to drink. And if you're just taking that for granted, Wait for a hurricane to come in and you will be disabused of that notion. Hurricane, flooding, lots of things can happen. Wildfires can happen that mean you suddenly don't have any tap water. Here, Joan says, here in the North Carolina Smokies, my hummingbird family came in late April, disappeared in a week, and haven't been back since. Also, their feeders are usually inundated with wasps, but not this year. No squirrels since October last year. 2 8-foot tomato beds yielded 20 tomatoes with not one blemish. No bird pecking spots or bug infestation. But tomato yields from 16 plants were disappointing. 16 plants, 20 tomatoes. And even my greenhouse, little yield. 3 beds of potatoes yielded 5 potatoes. 5 beds, friends. Where I normally get enough to last until the following May, look to the sky where we get our answers to why our wildlife has disappeared all growing season and our gardens have not flourished. Is it chemicals? Or I'm going to toss this one out there. You know, maybe we're doing what the Lord does not appreciate. Let's just toss that one out there. Could it be that we're getting cursed because of our bad behavior as a country and as citizens and people before God? I don't know. I'll throw that one out there. What do you guys think on that one? LC in Florida says, washing fruit with a vinegar solution can help prevent mold growth and extend its shelf life. A diluted vinegar solution, typically 1 part vinegar and 3 parts water, can effectively kill mold spores and bacteria on the surface of the fruit. This method helps remove contaminants and reduce the risk of spoilage. That's good advice out there. 3 Little Pigs says, off topic, but I wanted to pass info that I was recently told. We purchased 1/4 of a side of beef from a local cattle farmer. He said that the cattle at the cattle markets have increased 30% in price a while ago, and that prices are expected to hit the consumers' pockets pretty soon. We're seeing beef prices going up for sure, but even the smaller producers, meat packers are really feeling the pinch, and they're passing it along. Jennifer says, Southwest Missouri, I am in my garden every day and have seen only 1 honeybee all summer and hardly any flies. I also grow squash, and any squash grower will tell you that we battle the squash vine borer every year. The minute the flowers come out on the plant, they come and will take down the plant fast. Well, this year I might have seen 3 or 4 mid-season, then none. That's how I know this insect shortage is a real thing. It's very unusual. Even though I hate them, I can only imagine the good insects being killed as well. Serious changes to our ecosystem out there without anyone discussing it. Paula says, I try to watch your updates daily. It has been a big help in preparation. I live in East Tennessee, very rural, and farmland all around. I only use the fertilizer that comes from the back end of chickens and rabbits. I also have never used pesticides. I live on 1.5 acres. Last week my son had 2 visitors and we were all sitting on the outside of the patio. They told me that they saw 5 drones pass over the fence line between my house and the neighbor's cattle field. They said they noticed 1 drone spraying a mist. Very suspicious. I have so many butterflies this year and several dozen species in my yard. Mosquitoes are plentiful. However, the Japanese beetles and flea beetles that wreak havoc on my crops were almost non-existent. I'm curious to see if population declines after the drone sightings. Farmers are more and more using commercial drones for spraying programs. So if you have farmers next to you, that may very well have been what that was. They shouldn't be spraying on your property, but does that happen? It absolutely does happen. Deborah says, I live directly in the city of Spokane, Washington. Sorry. I feed the birds and squirrels almost daily for years. I began to notice last year that not even half the amount of birds were coming to visit. Now I hardly get any birds or squirrels. It's so sad and concerning at the same time. There's some states that just breaks my heart. California and Washington and Oregon particularly, they're such beautiful states. The land is just beautiful, but just the governments are the worst. Kel says, Southeast Nebraska. I've been noticing a lot of bees finally at my bird bath lately. I have a couple dozen birds that regularly come to my garden to drink. All of the birds disappeared for a few weeks. Last week, they started to visit again, but I noticed there are not as many of them now. We've been gardening for over 25 years and never had a year where everything did poorly until this year. We tested the soil and it shows the levels should be good for growing. We've had regular rains, so we have been using the collected rainwater for the garden most of the season. Not sure what to make of it. Yep, hearing that again and again. Mr. Meck says, Northern Twin Cities and Minnesota, update. We had a massive amount of rain recently. The following day, I noticed millions of ants everywhere on my 2.5 acre yard and very close to the house. I then saw bugs flying up from the ground. Thought they were bees until I got closer. They are all flying ants, each carrying an egg. Soon the air was filled with thousands or millions of flying ants everywhere. Immediately I went to Menards and got several bags of insecticide and spread it around the house. Next day, everything was back to normal. Super weird. Charles says, here is an interesting phenomenon taking place on eBay. Many of the Chinese dealers have changed their declared locations to other countries, probably to avoid the sanctions. The tariffs. I'm sorry, they're not sanctions, they're tariffs. I repair watches and have to find older parts, etc. on eBay and elsewhere. For instance, I ordered from a seller supposedly in Israel, but the item was shipped from China. The same thing happened with some so-called United States sellers. You buy from what eBay has documented as being in America, and then it takes 2 weeks or more to arrive, and it's postmarked from China. I can't help but believe eBay is well aware of this. Maybe. Do watch out for that, friends. Watch out for where the stuff's coming from. Sharon says, we live in southwest lower Michigan. We have very large grape arbors full of grape leaves. A kingfisher lives in the arbor, usually. The main thing that's missing is the grapes. We have no grapes, none. Our cucumber vines grew close by, but they always have. I don't know why the grapes are missing this year. These are Concord grapes. Nothing goes to waste. I use the grape leaves for pickles and for rolls. Vicky says, I have been paying close attention to the bird population in my neighborhood in the Northeast Ohio. Where did all the birds go? I used to hear them every morning at dawn. Now nothing, just dead silence. We are in serious trouble. I don't see any squirrels either. I find no dead bodies of either when walking around, just gone. One thing that is also very interesting is that the skunks are now being seen in the city where I live. Are they moving in from the countryside to find food? I am heartbroken over the bird feeder being empty for a while, so I refilled it to see if it would bring birds as of yet, but none. I believe everything is winding down. If ever humanity needed to be in the right standing with Christ, it is now, for sure. Billy says, something good for sore throats and everything is iodine, the orange stuff, not the denatured stuff. No, I'm just passing this along. I'm not endorsing it or whatever. Let me know if you agree with it or not. Not the denatured stuff, but the orange stuff, all the way down to the bottom of your throat. It'll be gone in less than a day. Apply it 3 times a day. That anytime you have earaches of any kind, which go hand in hand for the throat soreness, alcohol and soft gel squeeze. Also, the garlic. You might have an orange throat. It does better than garlic, is what they're saying. And you might have an orange throat, but it works. It really does. I went to school like that for years. I was the only kid in school that had an orange neck and reached like like garlic with a cotton ball, my hair. But it did work. It still does, amazing and cheap. I think what they're saying is basically the outside of your throat, your ear all the way to the outside of your throat, not like eat it. Okay, so don't be taking toxic substances. Please do your own homework on that. Natural remedies are much quicker and safer to help us heal. Also recommending apple cider vinegar, which you do take inside you, right? Homestead Gal says, homemade chicken feed. Get away from that commercial feed and make your own. Homemade chicken feed is easy to make. The simplest homemade chicken feed may be a mix of rice, beans, and mealworms for protein and nutrition. We use dehydrated mealworms, just a few small handfuls per day. Combined with cooked rice and beans will be plenty of protein for your egg layers. We get more than a dozen eggs a day from our small flock of 14 hens and 1 rooster. We used Barred Rock, Buff Orpington, and Delaware heavy breed chickens. This flock is now 1 year old and 5 months age. We will collect fertile eggs to incubate soon. They have laid reliably all summer and even in the winter with very small light in their coop. Homemade chicken feed with these 3 ingredients provides about 16% protein, and it's less expensive than the commercial feed. If you know the ingredients your hens are getting. I'm going to throw in there one tiny little addition, which is make sure that you're also feeding them the chicken egg shells after you use their eggs, because they do need calcium as well. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. Just fill out your information and they'll get in contact with you. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.